Welcome in to another episode of the Key David podcast. And you will notice we don't have any guests. So it's just the three of us. And we've been meaning to do a video like this for several days. As you know, we have been traveling Mexico. And right before we left to Mexico, we recorded a live. And that live was with Chief Midegah, David Taylor. And I don't know, Trev, we ultimately had to take it down, right? Like it's not up anymore.
Yeah, we made a call to take it down.
So when you do a live, what you can't control is what people say. And so the nice thing about recording things is you can edit it. That one wasn't edited. And there's some things that I'm sure if Chief Midegah could go back, I don't know, maybe he would say, maybe he would. I don't know. I don't speak for him. It's important to understand this. We're Zion Media. We're not Zion Midegah. So we cover him. We like him. He's a friend of ours. He's a homie. We hang out with him. We have a good time with him. We like him. And we do what we can to support him. We feel that the Native Americans will play a very important role, and we want to be there to support him. But at the same time, we don't support anybody who is going to talk negatively about anybody else. I don't care who you are. So sometimes Chief Midegah goes negative. And I do my best as I can as the host to try and bring it back around. And it's unfortunate that it goes there. And we have to remember inside of all organizations, one person is not the organization. So if one person in an organization says something or does something, not an official capacity of that organization, like it's not a full representation of the entire organization. Let me be clear, and I think I speak on behalf of Trevor and David. We are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm a Mormon. My tribe is 17 million deep. And if people talk negative about my tribe, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool if Chief Midegah talks negative about my tribe, just like he wouldn't be cool if I was talking negative about his tribe. The goal of Zion Media is to unite the branches that are on the same tree. And the largest branch on that tree is my tribe, is Trevor's tribe, is David's tribe. David the Lion's tribe. And really, it's David Taylor's tribe too. And so I wish that if there were grievances, and for Chief Midegah, he's his own guy. He gets to do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to talk about grievances on YouTube, he can talk about them on YouTube. I wish that if he did have grievances, he would manage them differently, not on YouTube. I wish he would just go to the church if he has grievances and have a discussion with them. I have found that my tribe is very reasonable. And they're happy to sit down and have a discussion. But I don't agree with managing those grievances or saying you're going to sue somebody or saying that you have these issues on YouTube. That's not the platform to do it, and those should be handled privately. But just so all of our group knows, I will do a better job if in the future somebody is talking negatively about my tribe to shut that down on a live. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. It was a situation that I didn't know what to do. My wife was grabbing my leg as
we were texting each other being like, oh my gosh, we got to turn this ship around. This is not going the way we wanted it to go.
Yeah. And I tried to bring it back around and calling my tribe Diablo, which I guess means Satan in Spanish. I'm not cool with that. Just like anybody calling anybody else Satan wouldn't be cool with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, if any of us was calling the Ojibwe El Diablo, like Midegah would be pissed at us. He'd be like, "No, that's not cool at all. If you got issues with it, like that's not the way to handle it." And it that to me was where I was like, "Oh, geez." Like I was done with that interview. I don't know if people watching it could tell, but I didn't say much at all. I was just being like, I can't believe we're live. This is not going the way we wanted to. And we were supposed to be talking about something pretty exciting, and it just went on this negative off ramp. And it's just like, how do you get the car back on the freeway?
yeah,
There was a
and
couple times too where we were trying to redirect the conversation as well, as best as we could.
yeah. So we're doing the best job we can. This isn't our full time job. I've never hosted a podcast. This is the first time I've experienced this. But just know that my tribe is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints. I don't got to put a dash in front of it. Sometimes we're called Mormons. Sometimes we're called LDS. That's my tribe. That's who I am. That's who I'll always be. No matter what. Like that's who I am. And if I don't like what's going on in my tribe, then I'm going to go to the leadership of my tribe and I'm going to quietly talk about whatever grievances I have with my tribe. I'm prayerful that my tribe will step up and will help the Native Americans in accomplishing things that they'd like to accomplish. I love the idea of the uniting that can happen. I love the idea of a language preservation institute. I love the idea of an addiction recovery institute for Native Americans. I love the idea of a whole cultural center for the Native Americans. I want to participate in this. And I love Chief Midegah. I think he's amazing. I think Chief Midegah is at his best when he's teaching. When he is sharing the teachings as it relates to his heritage, his culture, mixed in with the gospel of Jesus Christ, it's some of the most profound stuff that I've ever heard, and I love that about him. What I don't like is when he goes negative. I don't like when anybody goes negative. I wrote a book on positivity. Like, I don't like negativity. I don't want to be around negativity. And so I'm hopeful that we can stay away from division and divisiveness. I don't like when Donald Trump goes negative. And I like Donald Trump. And I wish that he wouldn't go negative. I wish he would, when he's talking positive and he's talking about the future, I love it. And I feel the same way about Chief Midegah. I don't know, Trevor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really, move towards Chief Midegah because here's a guy coming from Native American lineage, from pioneer lineage, on the Smith and the Taylor side. And he comes onto the scene and he's talking about the Book of Mormon is true and it's in the native record, right? And as soon as I heard that, my antennas just went up and I just like leaned in and I fed on that. Like I was so excited to hear about it because I've been looking for anything my entire life that validated that, right? I mean, we just went to Mexico and drove 2,500 miles around Mexico, went over the Continental Divide, almost died in a car chasing down, artifacts and archaeological sites that may or may not be Book of Mormon, right? And so Midegah comes on the scene and he's talking about, like, yeah, the same teachings that are in the Book of Mormon are in the Ojibwe. And there's these birch bark scrolls that are going to be coming out that's going to confirm facts, not, hyperbole, that the Book of Mormon's true. And for me, I latched on to the guy, and I'm just like, yes, this is like so affirming to my faith. And I didn't mind the fire breathing, right? Like that dude, he spits fire, and I'm a little divisive, as you guys know, and I'm a debater, and so I kind of like that aspect of it. The same people that don't like the divisiveness of Donald Trump immediately did not like Chief Midegah. My mom was just like, I don't like that guy, he's negative, and I'm like, well, he's got a lot of, ancestral baggage, and there's a lot of stuff that was done to these Native Americans that he's putting a voice to, right? And so for me, it didn't really bother me. I kind of liked it, right? I kind of liked the finger pointing and that kind of stuff. But I could see the sentiment growing online, right, outside of Zion Media and even inside of Zion Media. I managed all of the comments, and we would get anywhere from 10 to 20% negative comments anytime we'd have Midegah on. And most of them were coming from that aspect of it, right? Every once in a while, you'd get someone that's just like, "This guy is a false prophet. You guys are being deceived," that kind of stuff. And that's just white noise to me. But the common thread was, I don't like how angry he is. I don't like how divisive he is. And that was, like I said, 15, maybe 20% of the comments. And we leave those up unless someone is being like, hey, unless someone is just being like super negative or saying personal attacks in the comments, I leave them in there. I just figure it's better to let those things go on. But after the live stream that we did last Monday, a week ago today, probably 40 to 50% of the comments were entirely negative, and they weren't personal attacks. They were just like, I'm offended. Like, I'm a member of the L-DS church, and I am extremely offended. I've been following you guys. I've been following Chief Midegah, and I don't like this anymore. I'm out. And it was over and over and over again. 40 to 50% of the comments, I was going through just like deleting things like crazy, just like trying to get on top of it. And then we started getting personal messages, phone calls, family, friends, people inside of Zion Media community that were just like, what was that? Like, how did you guys let that continue to go on? And we were like, we tried to stop it. We didn't know it was going to happen. And we caught him on a bad day. Everybody has bad days, right? And out of all of the videos we've done with him, out of all the times that we've been with him, like, I haven't felt like it's crossed the line, and I felt like it did. And so after kind of getting a group consensus between all of us, we were just like, let's just take it down, right? Let's just make it private, and like, take that thing out of the etho and out of the matrix, so to speak. And we were going on our trip to Mexico, and we didn't want that thing to just breathe, right? And like Shane mentioned, I love this church. This is my father's church, and it's my kids' church, and it's going to be my grandkids' church. And sure, there's things I don't like about it, but I love it. And there's things I don't like about my family, my own personal family, but I love them. And I feel that we've been able to do a good job at Zion Media talking about some of those things that we don't like, or maybe that we wish were different, or that were handled differently. We've brought a lot of people on to our platform and done videos with people that are inside the church, even outside the church, excommunicated even, that have voiced opinions. But we've been able to do it in a way that wasn't gross, right? It wasn't super negative. And we just felt that we didn't need that, right? And it wasn't a good look for anybody. It wasn't a good look for Midegah, and so we decided to take that down, make it private. And like Shane said, like, we love the guy, and David, you're a stud. I'm stoked for what you're doing. We completely want to continue to support you, and think it's amazing. We know what the prophecies say in the Book of Mormon about the seed of Lehi. We know what it says about the remnant of Jacob and gathering of Israel, and it's exciting to see this starting to happen. I want to say that there's a lot of people that are putting Midegah up on too big of a pedestal, too big of a platform, right? And they're looking to Midegah like, this guy is a prophet or a false prophet, right? Like, it's only one of two things, right? He couldn't just possibly just be a guy, right? He couldn't possibly just be Chief Midegah, David Taylor. They're saying he's either a Messiah or a false Messiah, right? He's a prophet or a false prophet. And there's even some YouTube channels that are doing videos on him and being like, I'm going to break down why David Taylor is a false prophet. And it's like, you guys, like, aren't there better uses of your time? Like, aren't you making this actually worse and making people go into this negative frenzy by lifting him up to a higher level, a higher standard that even he is, presenting to himself. He's never said that he's anything special. In fact, he said, "I am who you think I am." It's almost like a reverse Uno card that he's playing. And so
Right. And
for
a
those,
lot of people take that to mean that he thinks he's something. I am who you think I am. What does that even mean? I don't
right,
know.
exactly, it's a brilliant move. It's like,
Right.
literally it's a reverse Uno card. It's like, Mark. And so for those that are hating on him, I want to remind you of what we just went through at General Conference. Like there was so many talks and conversations about, not being divisive and being kind and, like charitable and not being divisive. I think I said that twice now. But here we have these Latter-day Saint YouTubers, people on Twitter, people in the comments who are 100% not following the prophet. 100%. You tell me what is worse. Listening to General Conference that happened a month ago and doing exactly 100% opposite of what the prophets and apostles just told us to do, and creating a YouTube channel and tweeting and creating division and divisiveness and hate and riling up people that love Chief Midegah and riling up people that hate Chief Midegah. Like, you're fomenting hate, you're fomenting division. And I would propose that is 1,000 times worse than what Chief Midegah is doing. What Chief Midegah is doing, we went out to Missouri, he's trying to unite all of these ites. He's trying to unite all of these breakoff groups. And we did an entire event in Adamon-Diamond where it was about unity. It was about bringing everyone together. And yet we've got YouTubers out there posting videos about him being the false Messiah. I mean, it's ridiculous. Shame on you. Honestly, shame on you. And so that's really what I wanted to say. I think it's incredible what he's doing. If he can continue to work with these ites and these break off groups and bring them together and settle grievances, that's one step closer to them all
It
coming
is.
together, and then one step closer to eventually the LDS church, the L-DS church, coming together and creating unity. And that has to be done before the second coming. That has to be done
Yeah.
before we gather Israel.
And we need to make sure, and Chief Midegah needs to make sure that if it's about unification, then it's all of the branches, including our branch, including the LDS branch. So he needs to not go negative because one guy showed up at some meeting and gave him some paper and did something. That's one guy. That is not the church. That is a guy.
A low-level guy that isn't even paid, right? It's a bishop and someone from the stake.
Yeah. So that is not a fair representation of our tribe.
I do want to say, and I wanted to say that on the live stream on Monday, I wanted to comment on it, but he was going so negative that I pulled back. I wanted to make fun of that bishop and whoever it was from the stake for overstepping their bounds, right? Like, you don't have any jurisdiction, bishop in Independence, Missouri, of a member of a church from Canada. That's his stake president's job. That's his bishop's job.
Well,
and if you have an issue with what he's doing, you're supposed to talk to them. You have zero jurisdiction to talk to him about that.
I read some comments on these other YouTube channels. They're like, it's not Chief Midegah's place to build a temple on the LDS church's temple lot. Clearly, you don't understand some things. The LDS church doesn't even own the temple lot in Independence. So do they own land in other places? Sure. We're not even talking about that. And you know what? What are people going to say when the Jews build the third temple? Oh, you guys can't build the third temple without our priesthood authority, without the LDS. You're going to go tell the Jews that? You're going to go tell the Jews that they can't build their third temple in Israel because they don't have the authority to build a temple? Listen, if somebody wants to build a temple, and our LDS did, by the way, and Muslims build temples all over the place, they call it a mosque or a temple, and Jews build temples, we don't have a lock on temples. Yeah. We may have a lock on what we believe is the sealing authority in those temples, and we build temples for us and for our people. But if somebody wants to go build a temple, go do it. Like, whatever.
Freedom of religion. Do what you want. And people brush over the fact of something very important that Midegah said several times, that his people know about the sealing power, and they also know they don't have that authority. And he said twice on two different videos that when the time comes, when this temple is built, that they're going to reach out to the LDS Church and ask them to bring those sealing blessings into these Anishinaabe temples. Like, hello, are you guys listening to this,
It's
Rise
a
Zion?
temple of unity, what he
Yeah,
wants to
so
build.
Midegah is acknowledging this, and he's saying that he wants to bring in the LDS Church to bring their sealing, because the most important thing to him is families and sealing families, and
Can I?
and they just brush over that. And so there's a couple of things that are like that they're missing. Okay, remember that Chief Midegah has two hats that he's wearing, right? He's David Taylor, LDS member, temple recommend holder, right? I don't have a temple recommend. That dude's got something that I don't even have, right? So there's that guy. And then there's Chief Midegah, who he's been given an assignment through the Ojibwe, right? And it would be like if Trevor Keys was a member of the UN, right? And the UN gave me a charter and said, hey, what I want you to do is X, Y, and Z. Well, they've given him a charter to go out and to do these language preservations, to do the cultural center, he's got a whole list of things that he's doing. And the best way that he knows how to do it is to reach out to all of these Nephite book people, as he calls them, right? These are the LDS branches. And so they told him, when he basically said, here's what I want to do, here's my strategy, they told him, you can't go to the LDS church first. That's favoritism, right? So go to these other churches first, get them on board, and then bring the whole entire tribe together. And so when people are saying, like, he doesn't have authority to do that, he does have authority to do that. Just like I would have the authority from the United Nations if they asked me, like, hey, I want you to go make friends with all of these ites that are creating division, and then eventually bring it back to the LDS church, and let's get some unity going on there. That's what he's doing. That's the hat that this guy's wearing. And so you're gravely mistaken on what his intentions are, right? On top of that, like Shane mentioned, his tribe, his Native American people, have lodges. These lodges in our language are temples, right? And they've been doing these things for ages, as far as their records go back and their oral tradition goes back. And so they're restoring these things that have been lost. And who are we as LDS, as Mormons, to come into any religion, as Shane was saying, Jews, anyone being like, no, 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 you cannot do that. That is our thing. We own the temples. We own the rights. That's a horrible move. And that's below you. That's below us. It makes us look bad as LDS. It makes us look bad as Mormons to be that blind. And so, yeah, I wanted to clarify that.
David, what do you got?
Yeah, I have been thinking about my thoughts, or thinking about just some of the things that you've been saying, Trevor, and just the whole where we're at, and for it to be clear, and if it hasn't already been clear, because I've shared my conversion story a lot on YouTube, and the biggest thing, if I can convey anything, is that this church is, in fact, if you watch the Reluctant Watchman that we posted just yesterday, you would know that the church is a big part of my life, and it's literally part of my identity. And I see the church as being like my parents, like, because growing up, my parents growing up in the house weren't together. And I had the blessing of being able to baptize my mom and bring in my grandmother. So as a 15-year-old, I brought in, two additional converts, and and having the experience to be able to baptize, and literally I could say that I grew up in the church. I didn't sing primary songs, but I grew up in the church. So the church is critically important to me. And I'm at a stage where I'm working to try and get my kids testimonies, or guide them to get their own testimonies of the Book of Mormon, of Joseph Smith. And so it's literally my mission as a father to make sure that they have the same structure and experiences. Like, I get so excited about my girls going to girls' camp. I didn't get to go to girls' camp. I mean, hopefully I wouldn't go to girls' camp. But my point is that they get to have those youth experiences similar like I did. And so I get so excited for them to have that same upbringing. So I'm full on with the church. And the way I see Midegah is like a Samuel the Lamanite. I see him as a person that has a lot of fire, has a lot of important messages to share. And I see his role as being really valuable for the church, because when the Lord comes, we have to be 100% united. We have to be one heart, one mind. And where do we start? It starts with Ephraim and Manasseh. It starts with Ephraim being the church and Manasseh being the natives, all uniting in one heart, one mind before the Lord comes. And this temple idea, it sounds phenomenal because it's a temple of unity. And, I, of course, don't like it. I'm not excited when I see negativity shared, but I can understand it also as a native. I can understand where he comes from when he shares it. But at the same time, I'm thinking about the temple of unity. I'm thinking about these last days. I'm thinking about Zion. And so I don't get too excited when it does go negative. I mean, like we said, we were texting each other, and I was like, man, this is kind of like bringing me down, and as it probably did for a lot of you. So, I think my last thing is that I think Midegah has got a good path that he's on, and I love him, and I see him as my brother. That's like when we went to Missouri and did the 8th day of assembly. The 3rd day, which we didn't record, was a ceremony. It was a ceremony that was very emotional for me, because although my tribe isn't necessarily the Ojibwe like Midegah is, the ceremony was held in a Cherokee lodge. And for me, it was like coming home to witness this prophecy that was made for the Ojibwe. But it was a wonderful and beautiful thing to see it experienced inside a Cherokee lodge. And I had a lot of thoughts of my grandfather, who I miss for sure, to realize the things that had been prepared for me, and to have that experience with Midegah and Shane and Trevor. And so it was just a very beautiful thing for me. And so I see Midegah as like my brother, or a relative, or a relation. And I love what he's doing. And I hope that he stays on a good path and stays reminded of the importance of uniting. And so,
yeah, and I think, like the Lord said, if you are not one, you are not mine. And by their fruits ye shall know them. We know all of these things. We know all these statements. And here at Zion Media, we named it Zion Media for a reason. We are in the business of creating Zion. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you are waiting on the church or any organization, religious organization, to be the ones to create Zion, I think we're going to be waiting for a very long time. It's on us. And hopefully they'll join in with us. But we need to start creating Zion. It needs to happen with us. I have a direct command in my patriarchal blessing that says I have a responsibility to gather Israel. I'm 44 years old. I'm running out of time. I'm halfway through my life. So when am I supposed to start? It doesn't say when I'm supposed to do it. It doesn't say how I'm supposed to do it. It just says that I'm supposed to do it. And so I'm doing that, so that when I return and report, I can say whether we're successful or not. I can say, hey, I tried. Here's what I was trying to do to fulfill that responsibility that was given to me in that patriarchal blessing. But in order for us to do that, and I'm telling you guys this right now, if we can't unite the house of Joseph, If we can't unite the branches on the restoration tree, we won't succeed in gathering Israel. And so whether Midegah is being negative or whether other people are being negative towards him, like, this is not unity. So I think there was a wise person once said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just don't watch it. Turn away from it. Quit posting. Quit commenting. Like, be done with it. Move on. If you don't like him, then move on. It's okay. And I'm going to do the best job I can as a host of a podcast to try and help whoever I have on there stay positive. Don't go negative. Be about unification and uniting and lifting one another up. And I should have done a better job on that live with Midegah. I didn't do a good job at that. I won't make that mistake in the future. I'll go ahead and stop my guest and say, that's not this program. That's not what we do. That's not what we're here to do. So I love Midegah. I'm grateful for the work that he's doing and the opportunity I've had to learn from him. And we're going to do the best job we can to support him. But I promise you this, if he goes negative against my tribe, I'm less likely to have him on Zion Media. Just like if anybody goes against my tribe, I'm probably not going to have them on our program. And we've tried to have people from all walks of life on our program. We don't discriminate, but if you're going to go negative and you're going to talk crap on my people, like you're not going to be on our show. That's the deal. And I'm going to do a better job of shutting that kind of stuff down. And again, I'm prayerful that in the future, he'll handle things a little differently, but he's a big boy. He's been a Marine. He's done all sorts of stuff. Like, if that's how he chooses, he wants to do it, like, he can do it. But if he chooses to do it the way it went on the last live, he won't be on at least my show. And so, because I'm not going to deal with negative people, period. No matter who you are. I don't care if you're a chief. I don't care if you're a prophet. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to deal with you talking crap or negative on anybody, any branch. That's not who we are, and that's not who Zion Media is. And I just want our viewership to understand where we're coming from and what our purpose is. Our purpose is to bring people back. And I'm hopeful to share a beautiful experience about a guy named David. I call him King David to differentiate him from David the Lion Douglas. We have been so blessed on and through Zion Media to have people that have fallen away and taken a different path, and it's found Zion Media, and it sparked something in them and brought them back to Christ and back to the waters of baptism or the desire to be baptized. And gosh, that's what I'm about. Like, I love that. That's part of uniting. That's part of building Zion. And that's what we're doing with this. We try to have as much fun as we can. Trevor is like literally the funniest guy I know. So it's like we have that comedic, you see his face right there. We have that comedic side. And then we have David the Lion Douglas, who has like the softest heart and is like this big teddy bear you just want to hug. Like, we have something really good going on here at Zion Media. I look at our Discord and all of our Zion Media followers, I don't even know what to call them, like family, that are just so engaged and so involved. And to build a community like this inside of just 5 months, like over the next 5 years, is going to be really cool to see what we do with Zion Media. And maybe it's Zion Media that starts like organizing Zion, or at least plants the idea in people's minds and they start living in a Zion way. So with all that said, we didn't want to keep this very long, but we did want people to understand where we're coming from, where we stand. And I will reiterate this, and I know people don't like this word, but I'm a Mormon. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's who I am. I will fight for my tribe. That's who I was blessed and fortunate to be raised in that. And just like Trevor said, my dad, his dad, his dad, and his dad, and his dad, they traveled across those plains to come out here. Like, that's my tribe. and I stand with my tribe. That's my branch, and I stand with that branch. And I hope that I can be a bridge between all of the other branches. And as we learn as the house of Joseph to come together and unite, then we can reach out to our other brothers and sisters of those other tribes and begin uniting them. We are living in one of the greatest times on planet Earth. Today marks the day, November 19th, 2024. Remember this day, because on this day, I don't know what the crap it means, but Pluto and Aquarius are making love, and it's a new day with a new deal for the next 20 years. It's people are talking about how it's a time period where nothing shall be withheld from them. People will start uniting, communities will be built, peace will reign. So we're living in an incredible time. Trevor, any final thoughts?
Isn't that the age of Aquarius? Aquarius.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. Final thoughts. Just two things. I've hashed them, but I want to rehash it. Shane convinced me to do this podcast, and I was reluctant. And he said something to me. I remember exactly where we were sitting downstairs in his basement, and he goes, "But dude, think about how many people we could bring back. We could have a bigger impact than we even had on our missions." And we both had very successful missions. And when he said that, I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it. And our mission has been straightforward from the get-go. Like, we want to bring people back. Some of the best members, the most intellectual, the most powerful people have left our church. And I want those guys back. Some of my friends, some of my family, like, I want them back. And we're trying to engage mentally stimulating content. We're trying to talk about hard subjects that you don't have in gospel doctrines class, but you're having these conversations with your friends. You're having these conversations with your family members, these hard conversations. And we're trying to bring those on, and it's resonating. And so we're not just trying to bring people back, we're trying to firm up those that are in it, right? And there's a lot that are on the edge that are slowly walking backwards. And during COVID, a lot of people left, a lot. Like, I have a lot of close people who left. They just stopped coming. They were put off by whatever, right? And I want people not just to come back, but I want those that are on the edge, that are teetering, to get reinvigorated. And there's so many cool things. There's so many exciting things that are happening. And then obviously the members that are inside it, we want to firm those up even more, right? That's our mission. That's why we're doing this. People ask us all the time, like, what are you guys doing? Like, what's your angle? It's simple. Outside of that, like, we're trying to entertain. This is a YouTube channel. We're trying to entertain. We're bringing on people talking about Bigfoot, right? We're talking about UFOs. We're trying to entertain, and when we can, we're weaving it into the gospel. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I just really want to rehash all of the haters out there that are pointing their arrows at Chief Midegah, because you're really jumping the shark. You're really jumping to a conclusion that nobody's putting out there. And you're actually putting him up on a platform much higher than what we've ever done, much higher than what Midegah is even having in his mind. You know, there's conversations all the way from Abraham Gileadi to, you know, YouTube channels that are being like, let's sit down and do a PowerPoint presentation on why Chief Midegah is not the Davidic servant. And we're like, what? Who's saying that he is? Like, now you guys look stupid because you're the ones that are putting this into people's heads. Chief Midegah is a guy. He's a flawed human, just like I am, right? And he's called to, both in his LDS and in his Ojibwe, he's called to gather Israel. And he literally has a calling. He's an ambassador from the Ojibwe tribe. That's what he's doing. That's all he's doing. You know, go worry about the people that are UN ambassadors. My parents were UN ambassadors, right? For the church. They had a mission, right? And, you know, nobody's calling my parents out for doing UN stuff. If they are, I'm coming after you. But that's it. It's really simple. You don't need to make a mountain out of a molehill. You don't need to make this thing into something bigger than it is. If you don't like it, like Shane said, there's a remote control. You can actually change the channel. right? You don't have to make a whole podcast on it. You don't have to like foment hate. You're playing into Satan's hand on this one. And so I just, I'd call you guys to love him. If you're really that worried about him, pray for him.
Yeah. And you know what? Take what you like from him, and what you don't like, let it go. He's just another guy like any of us. And I hope we can all unite around the idea that we all love the Savior Jesus Christ. We all believe the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ. And we believe Joseph Smith is a prophet of the restoration. Let's unite around those ideas. Appreciate you guys tuning in, watching this. And thank you so much for all of the love that you've shown to Zion Media. Listen, stay tuned, because we have some content from Mexico you aren't going to want to miss. I'm talking Trevor Keys getting in an accident, almost going to jail, us paying off cops, us doing some of the craziest things out there. Trevor playing pranks on the top of Pyramid while he grabs what looks like an electrical wire, and there's all these people around, and he's pretending like he's getting shocked. And
did we get that on video?
We got that on video. Yeah, we got that on video. To one of the guys, Sean Clark, eating a hot pepper and just absolutely not realizing what he ate. It
wrecked him for a day and a half.
It rectumed him literally for a day and a half. And I didn't want to go on this trip. I said to myself, if my passport doesn't come on time, then I know I'm not supposed to go. But it came 2 days early, and so I knew I had to go. And it was literally one of the most memorable experiences of my life. And if you've seen my life, I've lived a life. And this was so much fun. It was so far. Trevor has me doing things that I would never in a million years go and do. I just wouldn't go and do these adventures he's taken me on. I wouldn't drive up to go see the white buffalo. I just wouldn't do many of the things. I wouldn't go to Wisconsin. Trevor is getting me outside of my comfort zone. And so I'm appreciative that he's doing that for me. And we had an amazing time. Lance is a walking encyclopedia. I am confident.
It was so fun being in the car with Lance, because you know how like when you drive to like Moab or St. George and you're looking at like, why is the red rock coming out here in this formation? And you're just like trying to come up with your own stupid IQ idea of what it is, right? The entire time you didn't get this. Dave and I did. We could just ask Lance, what's that? How did that form? And it was like, well, that's sublimation. He's explaining the whole entire thing.
Yeah, I would ask him random stuff too.
I learned more about geology in 4 days than I've had in 47 years. Like, it was so cool, so fun. Lance is a total stud and just so giving with his time too. Like, I get sick of talking to people because it takes a lot out of you. And Lance is just like nonstop, no, talking. And I got to give a little shout out to David. We had a documentary film crew that was coming on this trip. It was a husband and wife. Their mom was coming as well. And when they got to the airport, something happened with the mom's passport, and it made it so that all of them didn't get to come. So David had to turn into documentary filmer, and it really ate up a lot of his trip. And it made it, he still got to experience everything, but he was working every time I saw David.
He had his iPhone going, and then he had another camera over here that he's walking around with.
His heavy bag, like I was tired with no bag. I was sweating with nothing, and Dave was just like dripping sweat the entire time, filming nonstop, at dinner filming. Every single place we went, David was filming, and I appreciate that, Dave. You stepped up big time, man.
So much so that I have to go to AT&T tomorrow to get him another phone because we filled up his gigabyte space, and I got to get him a phone that has a terabyte. So yeah, that we have so much content. Oh, let me throw this out there. Anybody that has any real experience editing, we have so much footage. It's too much footage for David the Lion Douglas to go through to edit. If you are interested in helping us edit some of this content, We would love to have you reach out to us. Go to our Contact Us form, reach out to us. We are looking for a couple of editors to help us on this project.
We basically want to take the 4 days that we were there and cut it up into like 4 episodes that are like an hour to hour and a half long. That's what we need the help editing on.
And a lot of it is Lance talking about these things. And just so you guys know, we haven't picked a time yet. I'm hoping it's late spring and not this same time next year, because I want to go back and do it again. I want to go back. I need to take my wife there. I need to show my wife all of the cool things. I need to take her to the rest. Dude, we ate at some of the best restaurants. I had some of the best food. I had the best French toast I've ever had. Like, we ate some of the best food out there.
We ate inside of a cave that had 80-foot ceilings. Biggest cave I've ever been in my life. And we ate crickets.
Yeah, it was such an amazing experience. We're going to be doing a massive group, 30 to 40 people on this trip. We're going to show you Nephi's temple. And I promise you, after you go to this place, you'll walk away saying, that's Nephi's temple. That's how I felt. It felt like, even though we were outdoors, I felt like the peace of being in our temples here. I'm pretty convinced we found the waters of Mormon. And if those aren't the waters of Mormon, those are some very sacred waters of something. And I think of all the, even Teotihuacan, I hope I said that right. Amazing. I said it wrong. How do you say it? How do you say it, Trevor? Teotihuacan. Okay.
Teotihuacan.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Say it, Trevor.
Teotihuacan.
Teotihuacan. So we just had an amazing experience out in Mexico. We stayed at, I thought the Airbnbs were really nice. Yeah. I thought the food was unbelievable. And honestly, Oaxaca was one of the coolest cities I've been into. And with our trip coming up, hopefully in the spring, with this large group, we're going to go to the beaches of Oaxaca. And if you haven't Googled or seen the beaches of Oaxaca, I think they're like, everybody knows about Cancun and Veracruz and all of those places. You don't hear people talking about the beaches of Oaxaca because those that know don't want to let anybody else know about the beaches of Oaxaca because they're incredible. I was looking at them online. So we're going to spend the last 3 or 4 days at an all-inclusive beaches of Oaxaca type place. And I would say this, the greatest experience that I had on the entire trip was the relationships that I made with the people on the trip. So it's the friendships that were built, that were made on that trip that I can't put a dollar amount on. I can't put a dollar amount on David that was with us as we're driving in the car and he's feeling like he wants to come back into the church saying, Shane, will you baptize me? And I'm getting teary-eyed as he's telling me this in the car. Like, I can't put a dollar amount on what that moment was like for me. So yeah, just really, really cool experience. We'll let you know the dates so you can get everything booked. And I think the sooner we get things booked, the better. So we're going to try and figure out a good time where the weather's going to be good to take everybody out there so you can see the Temple of Nephi, the Waters of Mormon, and honestly, a lot of Lamanite sites. I don't know. You guys went and saw some other things that I didn't see, but it was just incredible. So, hey, again, plug for if you're an editor. We're looking for some editors. We need 1 or 2 more editors to help us edit footage of this trip so we can post it on Zion Media. So if you have some editing skills and you want to help us out, reach out to us on our Contact Us form, and we'd love to get you rocking with David the Lion Douglas to take the load off him. Okay. With all that said, Trevor, David, anything else? Okay, I know Trevor's ready for bedtime.
I just want to second one more thing on the same thread that Trevor had given. Is I had been doing Ancient Answers about a year before doing Zion, And I'm doing this for the same reason, to bring people back. And I love what you said, Trevor, is that, we have the opportunity to bless so many people. And that's really a big part of Zion, not just being united, but to take as many people as possible with us before the Lord comes.
I did think of something. I'm thinking about David thinking about thinking.
Oh, I appreciate you thinking about that. As David was thinking, I was thinking, and now we're all thinking together, which means we're united in our thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's be united in our thinking. For myself, I'm Shane Baldwin. For Trevor the Key Keys and David the Lion Douglas, thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you like this and share this video. And we'll see you guys all next time.
I hope I walk the path to Zion, where truth and light can guide me through. I seek the face of my Redeemer, to find my purpose clear and know just what to do. Through every trial, through every shadow, I'll seek the light that breaks the night. I want to know the deeper meaning. I want to see His guiding light. I'm seeking Zion, I'm seeking truth. I'm searching for the way to find my place with you. I want the promise, I want the call, to know my purpose here, to give to you my all. I hope to hear the words unspoken, the still small voice that stirs my soul. I long to see the heavens open, to know my calling sure, to know I'm truly whole. Through every trial, through every shadow, I'll seek the path that's narrow and true. I want to hear the voice of angels. I want to stand where skies are blue. I'm seeking Zion, I'm seeking truth. I'm searching for the way to find my place with you. I want the promise, I want the call, to know my purpose here, to give to you my all. I'll climb the mountains, I'll cross the sea, whatever it takes to bring me to my knees. With every step I'll draw more near, until your love is all I feel, all I hear. I'm seeking Zion, I'm seeking truth. I'm searching for the way to find my place with you. I want the promise, I want the call, to know my purpose here, to give to you my all. I hope I find the path to Zion. I hope I see your face someday, to walk beside you in your kingdom, to know your love will guide my way.